Hey guys, I beat Resident Evil 2 Remake as Wesker, but every enemy was Mr. X. Here's how that went. Before hopping into this video, I would like to thank the creators that made all of the mods I use in this video. I enjoyed every single one of them, and I would encourage you guys to go check them out on nexusmods.com. And I would also like to thank this person for commenting and inspiring this video. Now, without any further ado, let's get into the video. Going into the gas station, we see the first Mr. X, where he displays one of the 3 unique abilities he has in this mod, this one being the Force. I treat this encounter like I would with the first zombie, but after I grab the key, he is right behind me, and he ends up hitting me, and I use that as my opportunity to escape. Once we get to Raccoon City, I've got to make my way to the police station because the streets are riddled with hordes of Mr. X's. On my way there, I have a large, angry mob of them blocking my path. Here, my strategy is to run headfirst into the mob in hopes they throw me far enough away that I can just get up and run to the station. Once inside, I waste no time and get straight to looting. Here, you'll see I ended up storing my gun in the item box. This is because if I can't kill them, there is no point in wasting any ammo so early into the game. After that, I'm in the East Hall attempting to save the trapped police officer, but that fails, so now we attempt to make our way back into the main hall where we meet up with Marvin and he gives me a knife so we can continue our way through the police station. After wiggling my way into the West Hall, I notice that Mr. X can't get through the windows. This is huge for me because that means I won't have to deal with any more extra Mr. X's than I have to. After running into 2 more Mr. X's, I'm able to get to the safe room where these guys heavily guarded the door. But I was able to make a quick escape and go straight to the library where Marvin called me and said he needed to show me something. After that, I do some more looting while those tyrants are distracted elsewhere. After I finish up with that, I finally go to meet up with Claire. However, it's cut short because there was Mr. X's at the gate and I just didn't want to watch the cutscene. After getting into the office area and grabbing what I needed, I skedaddle out of there and make my way over to the next area. On my way to get the next medallion, I snag the valve, which allows us to get the last piece of the bomb for one of the medallions. Here we see Mr. X's second ability he has, which is walking on walls. I guess you could also say that he can defy gravity, but I think my Spider-Man viewers would better appreciate it if I said it was wall walking. Right outside of that, I get the second medallion while a huge horde of Mr. X's close in on me. Instead of going through the library to get the last medallion, I end up running all the way around to try to take as many of these guys with me so I don't have to deal with them. When I finally get to the library, however, it didn't seem to work as well as I had hoped because there are still some left in the library guarding the way in. So I run all the way back around and get the final medallion. Now we are on to the William Birkin boss fight. I know what you're thinking. I thought every enemy was Mr. X. Well, originally, when I was filming this video, I had done every single enemy as Mr. X, but it is impossible to do. It will cause you to get a soft lock by the first or second time you face William Birkin, depending on what gun you use. However, this boss fight was very easy. The only difficulty I had was trying to hit his weak spot on the character model I was using. After defeating William Birkin, I get into the jail cell area and start talking to Ben. This is when I see his sad, inevitable demise. While being deeply disturbed from Ben's death, I make my way to the morgue so that I can grab the spade key, but a large group of Mr. X's had finally caught up to me, and I almost died trying to get out of the room. After grabbing the first power part of the jail cells and turning on the power, I hightail it out of the basement and start my attempt to get back into the main area, but things quickly go south for me as I run into so many Mr. X's in this hallway, and they prove to be a real challenge for me. Once I get to the main area, I managed to get onto the roof of the police station and snag the Clover key. Then I see the true introduction of Mr. X. I try to see if I can just run right by him, but it doesn't work out for me and he pushes me backwards. After that, I'm actually able to maneuver around him. Then I go grab the tool for the jackstand in the library, and the final portable safe for the evidence room, and the box so we can get the magnum, and the cogwheel for the clock tower. After I do all that, I finally make my way to the clock tower for the final power part and start my expedition to the jail cells, which doesn't go so smoothly for me. However, once I get to the jail cells, I get the parking garage key and attempt to leave that Mr. X infested area, which was no easy task at all. When they cornered me in this jail cell right here, I was certain that I was gonna die. However, due to my epic Resident Evil skills and mainly RNG, I managed to get pushed safely and barely make it out alive. Once I get into the sewers, I come across a massive alligator. I end up doing this chase flawlessly, unlike in my last video. But I forgot my gun, so I had to think quickly on my feet and snag the grenade that is nearby and throw it towards the alligator, which manages to kill him. However, as I was so quick on my feet with the alligator, Wesker was quick on his feet to take a bullet for Ada. A very honorable act coming from him. But Wesker's actions ain't the biggest of my worries, as this is the hardest part of the run. Now I do have experience in this part because in my first attempt with this mod, I had mentioned I had gotten to the second stage of William Birkin, but this part purely relies on RNG, time management, and strategy. We have no heals, so we can only take so much damage from Mr. X, and since this mod also replaces cockroaches in this game, we find ourselves with more Mr. X's than I really want to deal with. So what's my strategy? I tried to maneuver around the first Mr. X that drops down while hacking as much stuff as possible. Then, I try to stay as close as possible to the ladder so that as soon as it allows me to, I can climb it. Since they won't climb those ladders to chase after me, I hack everything in this room so that as soon as I drop down, I can run out. However, since all the zombies that would be there are all Mr. X, that doesn't work out for me. So, I have to train them a little bit and then move on to the next area. I head straight to the things I need to hack so that I can get the elevator working. However, I forgot to hack them, so I had to go all the way back and actually hack it this time. Then, after that, it's smooth sailing straight into the garbage area. Once I wake up after that bullet, I only have one goal in mind. That is to get all the electrical plugs as quick as possible, not taking extra routes unless the trade-off is worth it, which was actually very easy. I got the first 3 from the flamethrower room and even used the flamethrower in this area so I could get past safely. However, when I went to the last plug, I did die here because I wasn't thinking when I had gone to get it because it was so easy. I had gotten too complacent. However, the second time went a little bit better and I was able to escape with the plug. Then I went straight to the panel room, put in the plugs, and I was on my way to fight William Birkin again. Now the reason I had gotten soft locked here was because William Birkin spawns in the ceiling. Now I know what you're thinking, why would that affect anything? Well, because he spawns in the ceiling, so does Mr. X. Mr. X is unable to come down from the ceiling and bust open the door so we can fight him. I couldn't find a mod that allowed me to clip through the door, and I tried to kill him with the splash damage from the rocket launcher, but nothing was working. So I had to restart the whole playthrough. So here we are, fighting William Birkin again. This fight was a walk in the park for me, and I was able to kill him with 2 crane swings. Then, I rescued Ada, and we were on our way to the nest. When I had arrived to the nest, I realized that my strategy would have to change. Since this place was a little cleaner and narrower, there was nothing to catch me so I could get pushed into places that I needed to go. So the only other way through an obstacle that I can't get over, under, or around is through it. I pulled my shotgun from my item box and I started dropping these guys to their knees. That was the only way I could get by them. Once I got into the cafeteria, I knew that I'd have to go through that nightmare again, so I tried to get as many of them as I could into the cafeteria so they'd be locked in there and I wouldn't have to deal with them on my way out. Once I get to the left wing, I dispense the serum and take the container and lock all the doors in that area. After that, I go to fill the container with fluid and have a horrible time trying to do that. On my way out, though, we see Mr. X's final new ability he has, which so happens to be levitation, which kind of caught me by surprise, and I took it as a blessing because he couldn't get me. After that, I went and froze the serum and made my way back to the plant room to dispense it and grab the last wristband upgrade. After that, it was smooth sailing to the T-Virus in the final William Birkin boss fight. The boss fight went very smoothly for me, and I ended up coming out with a lot of resources. My journey to escape the nest was a walk in the park, and so was the Mr. X fight. I used a mixture of the flamethrower and the magnum, and it proved to be very effective, especially since I usually use only the magnum and end up running out of ammo in it before he dies. After that, I'm faced with Umbrella's last form of defense, and I pretty much just walk through them, and then I hop on the train, never to see another Mr. X again. If you really enjoyed this video, I suggest you take a look at the full gameplay video that I uploaded with this video in case you might have missed something, or if you're just curious on how the whole thing went. Thanks for watching.